in my other account. That's why it takes a minute
No,
for the YouTube thing.
It says recording, Sharon.
It does?
Yep.
Yeah, it's streaming live.
Okay, so you guys should be good to go.
Great, Sharon. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the October 21st, 2020 meeting of the City of Danbury Planning Commission. We will open with the roll call. Mr. Urice.
Here.
Ms. Hofstetter.
Here.
Mr. Kiokio. Bob?
He's on mute.
Oh,
Sorry about that. Here.
Mr. Sylvain. Here. Mr. Renz is absent. Mr. Haas? Absent. And Chairman Finaldi is here, so we will not need to seat any alternates this evening. As a reminder to all, this meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though the meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. As a heads up, if you call in, we may have to mute we ask that you mute your phone to avoid any echo. The instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the meeting matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. And again, this entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website as well. As I mentioned, a copy of the agenda for this meeting is on the city's website, and we will follow the agenda as per our standard practice. If prior to this meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items were submitted via email to Sharon Calitro, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. There is a new public hearing this evening, so this is how we will proceed on that matter. We'll first allow the applicant to make their presentation. We will next allow commission members to ask questions, and we ask that you do so using the raise hand function on Zoom to call attention to your question. After that, we'll allow the public to speak. I will ask those speaking in favor to speak first, those speaking in opposition to speak second. If people are participating via Zoom, please use the raise hand function. If you are calling in, Sharon will call on you either by name or by phone number. In all cases, please state your full name and address when called on to speak. In all cases, please only speak when called upon, and please be patient and respectful of others. All votes will be conducted via a roll call vote. And finally, remember always that this technology is still new to us. Actually, it seems pretty familiar by now, and we ask that we be patient if any problems occur. So with that said, we are going to move straight to our agenda as soon as your chairman can find it, which he did. Okay, the first item is to accept the minutes of the October 7th, 2020 meeting. Commission members, hopefully you've had an opportunity to review those minutes. And if yes, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
I'll have to abstain on this one.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
motion made and seconded to accept the October 7th, 2020 minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, again, a roll call vote. A yes is to accept the minutes, a no is to not accept the minutes. Mr. Urice.
I abstain.
Oh, abstention. I'm sorry, abstention, Mr. Urice. Ms. Hofstetter,
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and the chairman votes yes. The minutes of the October 7th meeting are accepted. Commission members, let the record show our next meeting is scheduled for November 4th, 2020. And with that said, we will move right to our first and only public hearing this evening. West Myrie Holdings LLC, application for special exception site plan approval for aircraft hangar, aircraft maintenance, flight instruction and storage in the IL-40 zone, 49 Myrie Brook Road, F19004, special exception number 778. As I mentioned earlier, all of the documents and other paperwork that apply to this application are available on the city website. And I will at this time read the legal notice. Application to be heard by the Planning Commission at public hearing in a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom on October 21st, 2020, 7:30 p.m. Agenda to be posted will include instructions to access the Zoom meeting and the application materials. Pursuant to Executive Order Number 71, Section 19C, notice is hereby given that the following application will be heard. Public hearing, West Myrie Holdings LLC. Application for special exception site plan approval for aircraft hangar, aircraft maintenance, flight instruction, and storage in the IL-40 zone, 49 Myrie Brook Road, F19004, special exception 778, Arnold D. Finaldi Jr., Chairman. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Ben?
Yes. Good evening, Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. Benjamin Dodo, licensed professional engineer representing the applicant tonight. This site, the application says it's 41 and 49 Myrie Brook Road. I just want to confirm with Joanne that the proper address going forward is going to be 49.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Jo-
That's why I only advertised it that way.
Okay, and that, okay. So if you see something on the maps, I'll explain it to you later. One of the buildings being taken down actually has an address of 41.
Not
But I,
legal address.
excuse me?
I'm sorry, that's not legal. It's just that you're using it, but it was never assigned to them.
So to eliminate any confusion, we're just going to keep the 49 and get rid of the 41 going forward. Because the 41 appears in some of the correspondence and on the app and on the maps. So just want to clarify that. Anyway, I'm representing the applicant here tonight. It's a 3.6 acre IL-40 site. It's currently the site of 2 hangars and a vacant industrial building. It's all inside the airport fence and inside their gate system. The proposal is we're taking down one of the, I'll open my plan in a minute. We're taking down an old T hangar building and the industrial building and replacing them with a 28,400 square foot modern box hangar building. And there's an existing roughly 11,000 square foot hangar there that's on the site that was probably put in about 15 or 20 years ago. Does that sound right, Mike? I see you. Yes, that hangar will stay. This project, we went through this is the 3rd step in our approval process. We are here because the airport hangar is a special exception use, and that's why we're here. However, we started this process by making application to the FAA back in January. We received FAA obstruction approval in April. After that, we made an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The only the variances we received were strictly related to the elimination of the need to plant trees and shrubs, being that we're inside the airport fence. There were no variances with respect to coverage, setbacks, or heights or anything like that. And all of this was coordinated with Mike Safranek at the airport. He was aware of the whole process prior to coming forward in front of the Planning Commission. I'm going to share my screen now.
You should be good, Ben.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Can everybody see this?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you. So here's the property. It's the same maps you have. I just colored it a little bit. The brown building in the front, well, first of all, at the bottom of the screen is Myrie Brook Road. It's where the road takes a bend over on the south side of the airport. The main gate itself is right off the bend to Myrie Brook Road. That's the entrance to the site. That's going to remain unchanged. The brown building is the existing hangar to remain. And then you'll see a long, narrow, sort of shaded stick in the middle of the site. That's the existing T hangar that's going to come down. And over toward the north end of the site is the existing industrial building that's going to come down as well. The pink building, which is sort of 2 rectangles next to each other, it was designed to fit the property and at the same time provide the modern hangars that the applicant desires, is proposed. That building is 28,000 square feet. It's going to be a dry hangar. There's going to be no sewer service to it. We are planning someday, hopefully sewer will be at the airport. So the building itself will probably be rough plumbed. So someday sinks and bathrooms and the like can be put in there, but it's basically just going to be a dry hangar for now. Fire protection calculations were submitted with this application. The building is not going to be sprinklered, but there's going to be a few fire divisions within the building, firewalls extending up, as required to break it up. Those calculations were submitted along with the application. The site will have a water service, but it's just going to be for now for a hose bib. And again, we would need to have sewer in the future to be able to bring domestic water inside the building as well. The blue line that you see going around the property is the property line. So over to the east is Wags's location. That's that dog kennel that just opened up last year that moved from Mill Plain Road. Executive Air is over to our west. And then the airport taxiway that says City of Danbury is off to the north. We meet the setback requirements. We also had a requirement that was a little more severe than the building setback over toward the taxiway, and it's called the ILS beacon signal. The existing building that we're taking down was built right along it, or at least the signal was put right against the building based on timing. We made sure to stay a little bit away from that. We have adequate parking on site, including handicap parking. As I had mentioned, the existing gate's going to remain. And then in the back northeast corner of the site, we're going to have an egress only gate. We're going to treat it sort of like a secondary driveway that if someone wants to leave the site, they have the ability to do that and go out onto Wags. And just for clarification, that driveway to the east of the brown building, that is our property. When I say ours, the applicant's property. And Wags has rights to pass and repass over that driveway. But that driveway is outside the fence, the driveway on Wags's property. Mike had issued an email to us last month. I responded to it yesterday or the day before, and it mainly had to do with snow storage and Mike's requirements for snow storage. We do have room on site for snow storage. If needed and the storm is really heavy, snow will have to be hauled off site as is typical on the airport, because you can't just put piles everywhere with airplanes going around. And Mike's other issues were related to security access, camera systems, and in our opinion, I think the client has, I'll let Mike speak to that later, but I think we've responded to all of Mike's comments. The other reason we're here in front of the Planning Commission is because we are here as well for a floodplain permit application. Most of the airport itself falls within the 100-year floodplain. This site, we actually got a little lucky, and very little of it is in the 100-year floodplain. The elevation sits above it. So really just the northerly corner of the site, there's a small area that we're not paving, we're not cutting, and we're not filling. It's below the 100-year floodplain. We're leaving that area alone. It's below elevation 454.5. The new hangar is being set at an elevation of 2.5 feet, the northerly 3 units, and 5 feet above the 100-year floodplain. And again, we're not doing any work in it, no cut, no fill. And we are not, and the building is set above it as far as access. I'm going to share a different plan because for some reason, when I color the drawings, I don't have the ability to, I want to go to the grading plan here. I hope everybody could see this.
Yep.
This is the area of the site that's in the 100-year floodplain. And that's it. And that's the area we're not doing anything in. Our pavement is ending before that, and we're not cutting and filling in that area. So that being said, we've received staff comments so far from Abdul, as it was nice of him not to have any comments related to traffic because everything is basically with this inside the fence. Hangars generate very little traffic. Jennifer issued her letter dated the 19th of October. Her letter was clean. It had no comments. And as I had mentioned, Mike has issued some comments. And I'll let, unless anyone has any questions for me, I'll let Mike take over.
Any questions for Ben at this time, commission members?
I guess just this is across from Speedsport. Is that the area we're talking about?
I don't know where Speed Sport is, Perry.
Okay, I think it's right around this corner here. If I'm thinking of it. Yeah, Mike's nodding. All right.
No, okay. It's right at that 90-degree bend in the road, Perry.
Yep. Yeah, I can see where the slope is down there on the flood.
Yeah, and if you look here on the vicinity map over here, you could sort of get a sense too. I don't even know how to highlight or draw.
No, yeah, I think I know. Yeah. Neat.
And Wags, to get a sense, Wags is right here. Wags' new location.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thanks.
Here's Wags.
Any other questions for Ben at this time? Is Mike part of your team, Ben, or should I call for the everybody in favor?
No, Mike. Well, no, I think Mike is here just to speak. He's not here representing us. He's representing the airport. So
I was actually, yeah, in case there was any questions on the airport of our approval, I can say that the gentlemen that are doing this project did another project on the airport about 15 years ago.
Mike, if I could just stop you for one quick second,
sure.
Mike, just so we're following our proper procedure, just give your name and your affiliation, and then you can go speak.
Sure. Mike Safranek. I am the airport administrator for
Thank
City
you.
of Danbury.
Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Joel.
If the airport administrator is not speaking in favor of this project, should his testimony be taken only after other for and against calls have been made?
Yeah, that's a good question. Mike, just so you know how we do things, after the applicant makes a presentation, I ask for people speaking in favor, and then I ask for people speaking in opposition. If the public has the right to speak.
Sure, of course.
I'm assuming you're in favor of granting this application.
Very
So,
much so.
okay, so what I will do now is I will say, just so we can do things the way we always do them, what I'll say is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? And then you're on. How's that sound?
Okay, great.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Mr. Safranek?
Thank you for calling on me. So I'll start again. Sorry, I'll follow procedure. We are very much in favor of this. The airport is in great need of new hangars. When I took over back in January, my goal was to add more hangars in a very professional and dedicated way. These gentlemen did a project not too long ago, maybe like 10 years ago. Phenomenal job. Every question I had in terms of security and camera systems and all that was answered above and beyond my expectations. And I can't be happier that this project is finally, hopefully going to move forward and break ground very soon.
Thank you, Mike. I did have one question. I drove by there today. I took a look at the long, narrow building that's going to be torn down. Is there anything in that right now?
There are a few planes that are in there. They're just being rented space, but the building has been deteriorating over the years. A lot of people don't want to put their plane in there because literally the ceiling is falling down. You don't want to put $1 million plane when the ceiling may collapse on it. So that was also, we were very much in favor of this plan because they are taking down what do we consider almost a blighted piece of real estate, and they're going to clean it up and make it look 100% better. So that will be taken care of.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Jen.
if I may, the staff didn't receive Ben's response until after the agenda was posted, so it was not sent to the Planning Commission or Mike's initial comments. Mike, if you can you go through those comments so the planning commission understands
Oh, sure,
what
absolutely.
your initial concerns were, and then maybe Ben can respond to how he responded to your initial comments.
Sure, and I do apologize. This is my first time before the planning with questions, and I had emailed Ben and said, "Hey, Ben, these are my concerns seeing this." And I didn't follow the proper procedures, but I was told on how it should move forward. So it won't happen again. I
right.
ask forgiveness.
No problem, no problem.
I've been scolded before as well, Mike, so.
Actually, Ben, I'm very surprised you got the whole sharing your screen thing down pat. In the beginning, you weren't so good with that, but you've really aced it. I'm very impressed.
Okay.
First and foremost, my biggest concern was the snow plan. We run into a lot of problems where, snow starts to pile up and some of the businesses on the airport want to push it into the airport. And we are very much against that. So my big concern is where you're going to put your snow. And Ben addressed that. He showed me the areas above and beyond what we need. And the plan is to cart off if have to. And that'll be a decision made by myself saying, okay, we have too much snow. You've got to cart it off. Let's work together. And like I said, I've worked with these gentlemen before. They have another business on the airport, and it's very, very amenable, and we work very well together. My other concern was an egress gate. Sometimes our gate system fails, and I would hate to have somebody get stuck inside the airport and not be able to get out. So by having an egress gate built into their system and they have the property for it, it certainly takes a lot of pressure off myself. Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, when a pilot gets stuck inside the airport, it's literally me that gets out of bed and goes down and opens the gate up for him. So this is a benefit to me, not having to come in at 2 in the morning, quite literally. Let's see. Another question I had was security system. Because we live in the world we live in today, we have TSA, we have the FAA oversight. My question was, what kind of security cameras will we have in and around this area? We're dealing with multi-million-dollar aircraft. If there's damage, we want video. The FAA wants to see what happened because there are complications. It's not like a car where you go bring it and fix it. The FAA needs to see and document what's going on. So I asked that our security cameras be allowed to be put in place and also the ability to review their cameras if ours weren't sufficient enough. Then address that. Number 4, like we do with any business or anything being built on the airport, that they have to acknowledge that they fall under what's called the minimum standards. The airport has like I don't know, it's a mission statement, a blueprint, what you would call it, that every entity on the airport has to follow. These people actually have deeded access. So they're not leasing any property from the city, but even with deeded access in the land deed, it does say you will follow the minimum standards and that they will also follow federal and state and local jurisdictional aspects. Something obviously very important for us because we have the federal and state umbrella over us. And then the final thing was that I was recommending very strongly to put what's called a pedestrian gate in so that a pedestrian can walk in through the gate and not just bring the car in. There are some times where people get dropped off, and it also gives me a better security aspect because I may not want you driving in because I don't want you on the ramp driving around, but I'll let you walk in. It's a less of a security threat bringing a person versus a vehicle. So I've added pedestrian gates all over the airport to mitigate that security concern. And finally, that whatever security system they put in, it has to interface with us. It has to be approved by the airport, by myself, and that it is seamless. And it's the same system that City Hall and the schools, fire and police, we all use the same system. So it's integrated throughout the entire city. And Ben addressed all 5, 6 of my concerns in the affirmative. And that was all the issues I had. Well, I have other issues, but that's a whole different story.
Thank you for that summary, Mike. Thanks very much for that. Okay, is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Jen, I know you mentioned that we have heard from Abdul on the matter of traffic. I believe you're awaiting other reports, correct?
We are awaiting, actually, I received the building department sign off for the handicap parking this afternoon. I'm still waiting on the engineering department, the fire marshal, and construction services.
Okay. Commission members, as you've heard, there are several reports that we have not yet received, so I don't think it would be a good idea to close this public hearing this evening, unless anyone disagrees with me. But I think given the volume of reports we're waiting for, we should probably keep it open at this time. Before I entertain a motion to continue, was there anything else from the applicant? Ben, anything else, or are we all good?
No, I think that's it. That's all I have right now. The
Chairman, I do have a question or two.
Oh, go ahead, Joel.
Okay, this one's for anyone that cares to answer it. I assume WAGs has to do with dogs or something?
yes, it's a kennel,
WAGs, is that a kennel or something?
kennel and doggy daycare.
Okay. Now, on the access, I mean, egress only gate and the pedestrian gate, for an individual to open either of those gates, do they have to have a card like you would have to get into City Hall?
I'll let Mike answer that question. He's the expert on this.
Yes, Joel, they would have to. That's why it has to integrate with the city system. We do it that way. So if fire needs to get in, if police needs to get in, they have one card that opens up all the airport gates as needed in an emergency. And that was why the provision had to be, it integrates with it's called KeyScan is the brand name. And it has to integrate with our KeyScan system. Any way the applicant chooses, as long as it's acceptable and integrates.
Okay, so it's not really for egress or access through the pedestrian gate with anyone other than, I guess, a rent paying or employee on the campus of the airport. Is that correct? I mean,
That is correct. What happens is they submit a name to me.
I don't normally hangar there, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to leave. I can't. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I think I inadvertently cut you off. Say it again.
I leave my plane in there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd like to go out and have a beer, whatever I want to do. I want to leave the airport, but I'm not normally on the airport grounds. I just needed to set the plane down. I cannot leave the airport. Is that correct?
Yes, you can leave, but you can't come back in.
How do
What's that? I think that was a Eagles song or something like that.
Yeah, California, Hotel
Hotel
California.
California.
Exactly.
how do
Yes,
I-
the egress, you can leave the airport, you can get out. You're just not allowed to get back in without access card.
How do I leave without without having a card?
The gate has what's called an interior trigger loop. So when you pull on the interior loop, it signals for the gate to automatically open. Coming into the airport, you have the trigger loop, but you also need an access card to work in conjunction with the two.
And is the trigger loop on the inside of the gate at all accessible from outside the gate?
No, but actually a very funny story. Back in the day, if you threw a hubcap on it, it would think it's a piece of metal and open it for you. We corrected that 20 years ago, but no, you cannot get in.
So it's not something I can reach with a 10-foot claw
No,
going in there and triggering it.
no.
Okay. That was
Any
it.
other questions for Ben or for Mike, commission members? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until our next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to continue this public hearing until our next meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will take a vote. Again, a yes is to continue till our next meeting, and no is to not continue to our next meeting. Mr. Urice.
Yes.
Ms. Hostetter.
Yes,
Mr. Kiokio.
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. This matter will be continued until our next meeting. Thank you, Ben and Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Mike, thanks for the clarification on everything with the gates.
Thank you. Good information. Okay, we'll keep moving forward, commission members. You will notice there's nothing under our continuation of public hearings agenda. There's nothing under old business for discussion of possible action. And for those of you who don't know, the one referral on our agenda has been tabled. Do I have that correct, Jennifer?
You have to make a motion, but yes, we're asking that you table the item.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to table our one referral this evening.
Motion to table the referral.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to table the public hearing. Jen, is this going to be withdrawn or do you think they will show up at our next meeting?
I'm not entirely certain. Sharon may know.
I think they will likely be withdrawn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'll know in the next 24 hours.
Okay. In any case, there's been a motion made and seconded to table the public hearing as requested by the applicant. Is there any other discussion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. What public hearing are we tabling?
I'm
It's a
sorry,
re-
it's a
It's a
referral.
referral.
It's a referral we're tabling.
The Fairway Asset Management referral?
Yes, sir. The
Okay.
only one on the agenda.
That I understand. Thank you.
All right. Okay, there has been a motion and a second to table this matter. I will take a roll call vote. A yes is to table, a no is to not to table. Mr. Urice.
Yes.
Ms. Hostetter,
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
Chairman Finaldi votes yes. This matter is tabled. Again, nothing under new business correspondence or other matters. You'll see the floodplain permit Ben referenced earlier under for reference only. And that is it. So unless anyone has any other issues to come before this commission, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Who
Do I hear
made
a
that? I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Harry.
Harry. Who did the second?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion on that? A yes vote is to adjourn. A no vote is not to adjourn. Okay. Mr. Urice.
Yes.
Ms. Hofstadter.
Yes.
Mr. Kiokio.
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain.
Think about
You
it.
know, I'll be glad when we're meeting again and I can stop with these annoying roll call votes. They're a pain in the butt, if you'll forgive me. I prefer everybody, voice votes I prefer, but you can't do it on Zoom. Okay, we have 4 yeses. The chair votes yes. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.